Well, what happens when outdoor air leaks into a building during the winter in many of the world's climates? Air leakage from outdoors is also known as infiltration. Unless the grains of moisture, which are drops of moisture, are added to this air, if the grains remain the same, relative humidity will be lowered. And we will explain that in just a second. Lots of people think heating systems dry out the air. Well, typically they do not dry out the air. But it'll be clear in a second why running a furnace in the winter, when you couple that with air infiltration, can actually lower your relative humidity. These are sources, and this comes from the government. This is an Energy Star graphic which shows air leaking into a house as blue arrows, and it shows air leaking out of a house, or any structure really, in red arrows at the top. There are lots of sources of air infiltration into a home or a place of business. This is a good example. We're going to look at 3 examples where we have outdoor air and indoor air at different temperatures. But we've kept the absolute humidity levels constant in each one of the examples. In other words, our outdoor air is 50 degrees dry bulb, and this is all Fahrenheit. 50 degrees Fahrenheit dry bulb is simply a plain old thermometer temperature. There's no humidity taken into account. And we also, for the outside air, have 45.3 degrees Fahrenheit wet bulb. That says percent. Sorry about that. That's a typo I didn't catch. That's 45.3 degrees Fahrenheit wet bulb. Well, that air sample, we've got 37.4 drops of moisture per pound of air. That's 37.4 grains. That then gives me a humidity, relative humidity, of 70%. Well, if I bring that air indoors, in other words, I allow that outside air to leak into my house or into my place of business, and I heat that air to 70 degrees, that 70-degree air would now have a 54.2 degree Fahrenheit wet bulb. And since I didn't change the grains, remember I said if you don't change the absolute humidity, if the drops of moisture or grains of moisture per pound stay the same, then look at our relative humidity, what happened to it on the right side. It started off outdoors at 70% relative humidity. It leaked into the building, was heated up to 70 degrees, and because I heated the air, it can now stand or contain much more moisture. So relatively speaking, the humidity went from 70% relative humidity outdoors. Once I brought it in and I heated it, the relative humidity went down to 34.3%. So the simple process of allowing that outside air at 50 degrees to leak into the building, and now we have to heat it up to 70 degrees, the relative humidity dropped. Not all that significantly, but it dropped by more than half.